Magadi mose muri Zimbabwe kusangana zvekare pano pachivhitivhiti chenyu patinenge tichikupai nyaya nemalatest updates anenge achiitika munyika yeZimbabwe. Nhasi tinoda kuti tikuonesei nyaya iyo yaitika paholiday ino yeEaster apo vachiwenga pavafamba 7 kilometers vakatakura muchinjikwa zvinova zviri zvinhu zvaratidza saini kuzvigananda kuti I'm coming. Zvinhu izvozvo zvaratidza saini hombe kuzvigananda ende zvigananda zvavhunduka nekuda kwekutakurwa kwemuchinjikwa kwaitwa naVice President Constantino Chiwenga apo vari kuchechi yavo yeRoma vane vamwe vanhu vanga vakati wandei. Zvinhu izvozvo zvavhundutsa ruzhinji rweZimbabwe nekuda kwekutakura muchinjikwa. It's a political sign iyoyo kuratidza kuti Chiwenga ndiye munhu ane zudzu panyaya yekubudirira against zvigananda. Naizvozvo muri Zimbabwe ndichakusiyai makateerera kubva kumakomerezi ari pano.
Question is, Professor and Tendai, how illegal is this bill, and what do we do with the illegality or illegal bill? And if the courts in Zimbabwe fail us, what is our recourse? Those are the two questions I want to ask. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can I don't know, between the, the two of you who wants to go first? I mean, which question, do you want to tackle? I see it, Honorable BT, your mic is on, please.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, I want to answer Masi, and I will speak a little bit on the question of unity, and then defer to Prof. Maduku. So I think it's a communication issue we need to resolve. It's a messaging issue we need to resolve. The starting point is that we are totally against this bill. We totally reject this bill. So it's not as if we are saying, give us a referendum now. No, we are saying this bill is an unconstitutional constitutional amendment. It's an attempt to rewrite the 2013 constitution. And to be legalistic, it's a bill that is affecting the basic structures, the basic foundations of the 2013 constitution. And modern law now says that if you have a bill that affects and defaces the foundations of an original constitution, then it itself becomes an unconstitutional amendment. And courts in Kenya, in India, in Pakistan, in Nigeria have accepted this doctrine of basic structure. So that is the starting point. And the litigation that has been filed so far, for instance, the litigation brought by war veterans and done by Professor Maduku is basically saying to Mr. Mnangagwa, you are the president. In terms of Part 5 of the Constitution, you are obliged to defend and protect the Constitution. By allowing this amendment, you have breached your obligation to uphold and defend the Constitution. The issue of the referendum only comes into it because the bill itself excludes the referendums. The bill itself in clause 4.2a says, notwithstanding the existence of section 328 and the obligation to hold those two separate referendums, we will extend the term of office of the president and parliament to 2030. And you have heard dubious arguments around why adding 2 more years is not extending a term, strange arguments. And we are saying that under no circumstances can you add 24 hours to the term of office of defined offices in that constitution, including the president, including the clerk of parliament, including defense force commanders. Under no circumstances can you do that without going to first a referendum that removes the term extension, to a second referendum in terms of 328.7 that makes you a benefit. So it's not us demanding the referendum. It is the constitution demanding the referendum, and demanding referendums is a way and means of protecting itself. The constitution is protecting itself against amendments. And remember, this constitution was made in 2013 in the context of seeking to address certain mischiefs which we had witnessed in the preceding 20 years. And one of the mischiefs was that our constitution, he had been amended over 20 times in under 14 years during the Mugabe era. So the constitution, one of the things it was dealing with was this mischief of constant amendments. So the sequencing and the messaging is very clear. This bill must be withdrawn. We don't want this bill. And one of the reasons why we don't want this bill is that it is seeking to amend something that we all agreed to in a referendum on 21 March 2013, when 93% of us, representing 3 million, voted. That is the starting point. But the second argument is that, but if you want to extend the term of office, you can't avoid the two referendums that are spelled out in section 328. As far as the question of unity is concerned, I think that I think that this, outside Gukurahundi, this is the biggest existential threat that our country faces. I've made reference to section 42, clause 42A of this bill, which says notwithstanding. The word notwithstanding is similar to the word deem in law. It seeks to create a fiction, a factual and legal fiction. So we can deem a man to be a woman. The law allows that. So what notwithstanding is doing is to create a fiction that Section 328 does not exist. Now, if we allow that, there's nothing that stops them in 2030 to say, notwithstanding the provisions of the Constitution, the next election is in 2060. There's nothing that will stop them to say in 2030, notwithstanding the provision of this particular provision, there won't be an election. So we face a serious fight in that they are suspending the integrity of the Constitution. They are suspending any capacity and capability of the citizen to hold the state to account and to hold power to account. In that context, it is a fight that all of us must be on board, and all hands on board, and which is why we had our meeting today and made the announcements that we made today in the morning, in announcing that we'll be working towards this broad alliance to defend the constitution. I will defer to Prof. Maduko.
Okay, thank you very much. And I think he has dealt with that critical question, which related to that. I think the first questioner who was going on and on why we are even allowing or talking about a referendum and so on. Just to add that, like what Tendai said, when we say a referendum, it's a shorthand for saying we don't want this thing. So we are with the speaker who says this is illegal. It must never be there in the first place. But when you say something is illegal, it must never be there in the first place. You actually have only two ways of doing it. One is to go to court and ask a court to simply say this is illegal. The second one is to get the people saying no. And the best way for Zimbabweans to say no is to say, let's go to a referendum. Because we know that a referendum would. Remember that in this country, we still haven't reached the stage where outside the legalistic processes like going to court or going into a ballot and voting, we have not as yet reached a stage where we want to reach that stage with time, reach a stage where by mass action itself on its own, we can put an end. We have done that in the past, 1997, we would stop a few initiatives here and there. But so when we say referendum, we are simply telling ZANU-PF that let's go to the people. And the ZANU-PF people are understanding it. That's why they say they don't want a referendum. because they also know that the people will reject. So it's a shorthand for rejecting it. Then I think the other point was all about leadership and unity of purpose. I'm sure that has been answered before. That it's all up to processes that can lead to people working together. We are in various organizations, but I think when an issue arises where we are all speaking with one or a target, we come together, and this is what we should try and do for now in defeating this bill. How it is going to be done, that is not going to be our problem. We any format will do. I think that's what we agreed as the three organizations and the others that are coming in. There is someone who was saying that I don't know. I think he was stopped by the moderator who wanted perhaps to criticize us or criticize the current leaders and say perhaps you we're not sure about your motives, things like that. I'm sure that's what was intended. I would suggest that Zimbabweans have a very good opportunity to look at the leaders that are currently involved and to look at all of us. I mean, we can never be pretending if we are saying no to the bill and not just saying no to the bill. We are doing everything in our power to show that we no to the bill. ZANU-PF understands that we are serious about that. I'm not sure whether there's anything more that is required than us standing up and hoping that we get everyone on board to stop this madness. We will do more, but that's all that there is. You can look back at history, yes, so that you are late, but I think you should now concentrate on what's going on and see what will come out of it. That's all I can add. I didn't get any other specific question, unless the moderator can remind.
I think,